Hey everyone, Nittany Line Roar here, and I don't think it's a big secret, but Empires and Puzzles has been losing a lot of players over the last couple of months. But the game hasn't really changed that much over the last couple of months, so what's the problem? Well, I hope to answer that for you today, at least from my perspective, what I think some of the issues are. But I don't just like to criticize without providing some solutions. So before I go on, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and hit that bell notification because in part 2 to this video, I'm going to talk about how I think Small Giant Games can fix some of these problems. But first, let's talk about what is good about Empires and Puzzles. Well, the things that made me fall in love with this game in the first place. Absolutely the art. Like if you just look at the art of a lot of these characters, especially whenever you like zoom in, I think the art is fantastic. I think the cards are incredibly complex. The synergies in the game are really cool. The strategy is excellent. These are all things that make this game great. And some of the more recent things that are making this game good are all of the new 3 and 4 star heroes that have been coming out, because they all used to be bland for the first like 2 years of this game, but recently the 3 and 4 star heroes that are coming out are really, really good. And on that note, I believe the most fun and the most interesting part of this game right now are the tournaments. So if I click on raids and show you tournament, we have Bloody Battle going on right now, and the tournaments to me are the most fun part because you have to constantly be setting up different defenses, trying out different attacks, the colors rotate, and you get to use heroes you don't typically would use otherwise, like 3 and 4 star heroes that especially come in handy. So those are the good parts. But now for the bad. First, emblems. Okay, this is really underrated, or just not talked about all that much as being one of the big problems in this game. I think emblems were a good idea whenever they first came out. I also think that they're overpowered. And what's happening now that you have defenses, like I'll even just show you mine wherever it's at. Whenever you have defenses like this with 20 emblems on them and they're maxed out, these defenses are just so hard to take down. And then especially when you get overpowered heroes to go along with the emblems, it just can make it incredibly frustrating. So especially for people who have Teleria defenses, and this is true in wars, people who have Teleria defenses like me, it becomes really frustrating to take these down. But even in the like mid and lower tiers of Empires and Puzzles, the emblems can make it so attack teams, which are no doubt thinner or weaker than defense teams, are going to have a lot of problems. And so I imagine at every level of war and raid, attacking fully emblemed defenses is a real struggle when you don't have a roster full of fully emblemed heroes to be able to take advantage of that. So I don't think this one's talked about enough. Along with emblems, there are certain class talents that are just way more powerful than the other ones. In particular, I'm thinking of ones like Fighter, Rogue, and you've got Teleria, who's a Paladin. Paladin is a really, really strong talent class. It just didn't have necessarily heroes to go with it until they printed Teleria. But it's emblems. I think emblems are the problem. If you've watched some of my videos in the last couple months, you've seen too when I've been fighting in wars and things, that it seems like they're calculated to just stay alive, like barely, when normally in the past that the hero would have died through several matches and specials, but now the defense can barely stay alive and then they just take you out. Also, this is causing games to be over, like basically the match is decided in 5 turns. Either you have the tiles or you don't. The match is over in 5 turns. It makes it feel like you have less control over the game. So I think this is actually probably the #1 problem, or emblems. And so in my next video, I hope to talk about how I think that we can solve that problem. The second problem is war. War has become boring and super frustrating for the reasons I talked about with emblems. But like, if you've watched my war videos, which thank you to everyone who does, because I love doing the war videos, and generally I love war. War has been one of the most interesting things about this game until I guess the last 6 months or so, like when tournaments are now more interesting to me than war. But war, it's the same thing at the top tier every time. It's Teleria tank, Teleria tank, Teleria tank. It's the same flanks. It's the same thing over and over and over again. But not even just at the top tier, like mid tier and low tier. The thing is that you have these rotating conditions like field aid, and you've got arrows and attack boost. But that's just not interesting enough. The defenses can always stay the same. You don't have to change too much. You have to think about strategy a little bit, but once you kind of get your strategy, you just every week you do the same thing, the same thing, the same thing. And they need to change this up. So that's kind of been my complaint about war. I think there's a lot of ways to make this more interesting, a lot like the tournaments, but I'll get to that in my next video. Number 3 is farming. Another thing that's just kind of monotonous and time consuming and boring. Like, people don't want to have their phones open all day, auto farming map levels. And I think, at this point of the game, there's got to be a better mechanic. I get that you need to get resources somehow, and the people who play the game more should be rewarded more and things like that. But farming real quickly becomes a drag. Who likes to just put on auto farm, stick the phone in their pocket, every 2 minutes pull it out, hit auto farm again, or just leave it on the desk or whatever? I don't think that a game should be about doing anything on auto. You're not playing the game at that point. You know what I mean? So there's got to be a better way. 4th, this game is super pay to win. It's over the top, right? So, this isn't a surprise, but it's a real problem. It's so expensive at this point that if you spend thousands of dollars, you can be one of the top players. And because of the way the emblems work and things like that, if you throw enough money at this game, and if you've seen my video on the experiments, where if you have a good enough attack team, you don't even have to try. You can just make random matches and you'll win. So pay to win combined with the emblems is making this game, first of all, super luck based. Second of all, the more money you spend, the more you're going to win. I don't think it should be like that. I do think there's answers to this. I think how expensive this game is driving people away at this point. And people who are in the top tier who have spent a lot of money are just fatigued from it. People in the mid and lower tiers feel like they can't catch up without spending thousands of dollars. So this is a problem to fix as well. And number 5, the deal ads. So yes, it's expensive. Deals are nice because you can get gems and other things a little bit cheaper, but holy cow, this reeks of desperation. When you open up the game now, it's 4 or 5 ads, just boom, 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 in your face. You close them all. It's pop-ups on the old late 1990s internet browser, so you couldn't close the ads quick enough. And then when you get to the main screen here, it's just cluttered with ads. I see ads all over the place. We've got this goblin balloon now, which is basically just a money grab, another way to spend. It makes you feel like you're earning something, and then you have to pay for it. And then you've got your deals for the events, of which there's an event, it seems every day now. You've got these shop packs, these battle items here. You've got up here these gem deals that pop up. How much money do you want us to spend in Small Giant Games? We got to clean this up. First of all, to make this screen a lot cleaner, we want to play the game. And if we want to spend money, why not just let us go into the shop and look at what the deals are, rather than just throwing them all in our face? I get you're trying to advertise, but it is over the top and it reeks of desperation now. And I feel like the response to losing all the players that Empires and Puzzles has been losing is why we're getting so many ads thrown at us, and that's not the right approach. I do have better answers. So I think that if Small Giant Games is going to save this Empires and Puzzles player base, it's time to make some immediate changes. And I think I know what those changes are, but they've got to do it pretty quick. And they've got to be making sure that they're meeting the needs of us as players. So again, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell notification so you see part 2 of this video where I talk about what I think these solutions are. All right. Well, that's all I have for you today. I am going to talk about these solutions next time. Keep an eye out for a video later this week, and we will talk about that. But I'm curious what you guys think the solutions are, and if you think there's problems that I haven't pointed out yet. So if so, make sure to comment. Give me the problems that you've noticed. Give me the solutions you think that there are. I hope Small Giant Games is watching this video and the next one, and I hope that they're reading the comments too, because it's coming straight from players like you and me. All right. Thank you very much. I will catch you later.